As Garrett was mentioning, Trump is working to protect North Carolina. Let me show you the map from 2020. North Carolina was the only battleground states of the 7 we're watching that he was able to hold right here, coming back to the 2024 map. Now, the Harris campaign is zeroing in on what they see as their most direct path, the blue wall. These 3 Rust Belt states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They voted together for Democrats in 7 of the last 8 presidential elections, and they carried Joe Biden to the White House in 2020. But tonight, NBC News has new reporting that some Harris campaign officials, look at this, are worried there could be a crack in the blue wall this year. The Harris team is bracing for either Michigan or Wisconsin to be flipped by Trump. If that happens, that would make her road to the White House more difficult, but not impossible. Tonight, we're going to walk you through the paths to the White House, and there are several, but we're going to walk you through the main paths for both candidates to talk about what could happen on election night. So let's talk about Vice President Harris, right? First off, her easiest path is if she can maintain that blue wall that Joe Biden rebuilt in 2020. So she holds Pennsylvania, she holds Michigan and Wisconsin. Look at the number right there, 270. She's headed to the White House. But if something were to happen, like if she were to lose Pennsylvania, then she has to win North Carolina or Georgia, and then she can head out west. Either Arizona or Nevada puts her over the top. But if she were to lose 2 battleground states, like, say, Michigan, and she just holds Wisconsin, she has to flip North Carolina, she has to win in Georgia, and then she can go out west and she can win there. And if she were having a very bad night on election night, say the blue wall just collapses, right? She loses Wisconsin, she loses Michigan, she loses Pennsylvania. That means she has to win North Carolina, she has to win Georgia, she has to win Arizona and Nevada. She has to win in the East, and she has to win in the West. Again, that's going to be a very rough night for Democrats if that happens, but that's a path for her. Let's talk about Donald Trump now, the former president. He won in 2016. His easiest path on election night would be to win North Carolina once again. He holds North Carolina. He flips Georgia back red. Remember, he lost in 2020. He won it in 2016. And then he wins Pennsylvania. This East Coast strategy, it takes him to 270. But if he can't win Pennsylvania, and remember, all eyes are in Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes, the most money and the most time spent by these candidates. If he says he wins Michigan and he holds North Carolina, flips Georgia, all he has to do is win Nevada or Arizona, one state out west. If it's Wisconsin that he wins and he loses Michigan and Pennsylvania, it's a little trickier because the math doesn't add up. He has to hold North Carolina, Georgia. He has to win in Arizona and then Nevada as well, and that's one of the paths that he can get to get over there. The final path, and this is kind of a strange one, is if there would be a tie. And yes, there could be a tie. Let me walk you through how this would happen. If Harris wins the blue wall, she wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, she gets to 270. So you're going to say the race is over. Sort of. Watch this. If we go to Trump and we give him the states out west, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, 268. He's still 2 electoral votes short. So what happened? Let's go to North. You see Nebraska here in Maine. They sort of have this Where's Waldo effect. They're both blue and red. What does that mean? Well, they hand out their electoral votes in different ways, by popular vote, but also by congressional district. Let me show you. So as we go into Nebraska right here, you have the popular vote at 2, and then each congressional district gets 1 electoral vote. So congressional district 2, that's the city of Omaha and Sarpy County. If Trump were to flip this, and he won this in 2016, I should remind you, then look at this number, 269, 269. So you're asking yourself, what happens? We're not at 270. Well, here's what happens. It then goes to the House of Representatives. And the House of Representatives would select the president, not the current House, the House that wins on election night. So if Republicans are in control of the House, each state gets 1 vote, and it stands to reason that if the Republicans have the majority, they're going to select Donald Trump to be the president. Same for Democrats. If they win the House, they're going to pick Kamala Harris. So what happens with vice president? It gets stranger. The Senate then picks the vice president. So if the Democrats hold the Senate like they do right now, and if they hold it on election night, they would pick the vice president. So yes, there's a scenario where Donald Trump could be the president, and then Governor Tim Walz would be the vice president, and vice versa. Kamala Harris is president, and J.D. Vance is the vice president. It's completely strange. Listen, this hasn't happened in 200 years with this many states, but it has happened in our country's history. So it's just one of the many scenarios we're going to be ready for on election night. And again, we're going to be covering all this as we head into those 2 weeks into election.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.